The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech.
Yeah.
Cold world. Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech.
G&T.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech. Shall we do geek news,
Black and brown perspective,
nerd culture, tech news?
Can't do anything. God.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech.
The
I'm
geek
Joe
is just
Braswell.
on super low today.
I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined as always by my man Achilles Shine.
Keely Shine, yes sir, man.
In the building.
I'm in the building.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. Interesting week, man. All around. A little saddened by the Lamar news.
The news that happened, not the news that because I heard he's gonna pull through.
I'm just saying in general.
General,
Yeah,
yes.
in general.
I got something to side note on that. Alexis, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you guys? And I'm also sad about Lamar Odom because I was reading all about that this past couple days. So
I saw Lamar at a liquor store, parking lot one time.
what? No way.
No, I did, like in Van Nuys or Sherman Oaks.
That's awesome.
And well, it wasn't awesome because
Was he doing something terrible?
No, he just looked like. I mean, he had a nice sweatsuit on and some nice shoes and everything on, but it was like. It just didn't look right. I'm like, why is this?
No.
He's like all in the alley. It just didn't look like coming out of some apartment. It was just not right. And that wasn't too long ago, but it felt like
I hope
this
he pulls
doesn't look
through
like.
and,
Well, yeah, I've met Lamar a few times.
Yeah.
He's a very, very nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Funny. But yeah, I mean, I think you are your decisions.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
It's sad though.
It's also, it's addiction too. Like it's the scourge of addiction. You know what I mean? Like
That's a decision.
you think addiction is a decision?
You have to start from somewhere.
Well, okay, that's true. I mean, like, so what you're saying, if you're predisposed, if you know you're disposed to an addictive personality or predisposed to addiction, don't go down that road because it's a road you can't come down.
I mean,
Are you saying?
I'm saying that everyone has choice in life, and yeah, I mean you have some things genetically that you have no control over, but you have control over your decisions.
That's very true. That is true.
But I'm not. I
is
mean,
true.
that's my boy, my brother. Like I
No,
feel for
know.
him, so I'm not saying it like that.
I'm not getting into this. I mean, that's I'm just trying to wrap my head around that take, which I do agree with mostly, but I'm also not discounting like. I'm in the scourge of like what happens chemically in your brain with addiction. That's the battle.
Of course,
in theory, you want to make the right decision, but you can't. That's hence the addiction. But it's also like.
But I think there's a precursor to what happens chemically. At least when we're talking about substance abuse.
Sure.
I mean,
you have to make the choice to do whatever you got to do.
Exactly. Maybe other things you have no choice over.
Yeah.
But with that, you do.
Yeah.
But the first time you took a sip or took a sniff or a smoke,
Right.
that was a choice.
Right.
So, but whatever. Tech news.
Tech news. We got deep in there. We went the wrong show. I don't know what show it's
I was
supposed
like,
to be.
what show are we doing? I think I walked into something totally different.
I like it though.
I
like
wanted
it.
to talk about movies and stuff, but you know what? That's fine. I get it. Whatever.
Well, we can get into what we do. What we do is talk about tech and nerd culture and everything else. And I think that this first story is really sort of does a mashup of both the things we love, which is pop culture, nerd culture, and tech news and technology. So Toyota, and also sort of cool ad campaigns. Toyota is reuniting Doc Brown and Marty McFly in a pretty big campaign they're rolling out for their new hydrogen fuel cell car. Now, there's a lot of things intersecting here. Obviously, it's the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future. That franchise is coming up, so there's been a lot of press around that.
So excited.
Which is cool. So they're out and about. By they, I mean Bob Zemeckis and Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. But Toyota also just so happens has this new hydrogen fuel cell car, which kind of shares the technology that Doc Brown's DeLorean did in Back to the Future 2. With it was called the
hydrogen fuel car.
Mr. Fusion.
Yeah, the Fusion car.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the one in the DeLorean.
Yeah,
it was like a food processor. Mr. Fusion.
Disposal.
Yeah, and he would put stuff in there and it would make it. So turning garbage into energy. Well, Toyota has something similar, right? The Miata.
Yeah.
It's a variation of hydrogen fuel technology where it turns a lot of things, not necessarily banana peels and trash, into hydrogen, but it does in a longer way, sort of convert these things into fuel.
Yeah, I think this is a cool story. I mean, for me, when Back to the Future came out, like I was in the center of my childhood. So that franchise, those movies were just amazing to me. I love them to this day. Like it's very nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, to see the other different marketing pushes with the whole Pepsi thing, with the Nikes, and now with the car, I think it's cool. And like just the timing of it all, I think was pretty cool. That the technology. I mean, we don't have flying cars, but the technology that they're launching in this new Toyota is like coming out right when in the movie they said October 15th, 2015.
Right.
That's pretty amazing. Like just how the alignment of those stars happen. So
not only that, I mean, there's a lot of weird things that are happening, in this year, in the anniversary of, the 30th anniversary. I don't know. It's like, talk about sort of cosmic synergy promotion of this movie. Like there's a little, so we know about this thing, which is cool. Lexus has that weird hoverboard. I don't know if you've seen that hoverboard that they've created, actually works.
Yeah.
That is basically a floating skateboard. That's weird, and that's kind of been promoted this year, 2015. Yeah. There's also a more obscure one, but for sports fans, if you look at a USA Today that Marty McFly was holding up and it's like youth jailed, whatever. In the corner is a joke. It said Cubs sweep the World Series in 5 in 2015. Now that's a joke because the Cubs have never won the World Series.
Of course.
And the joke was back in 1989 that this would be the year that they would do it in 2015, which was a joke back then. And ironically, they still haven't won, but right now they're one series away from the World Series.
They're contenders.
So that would be something if the Cubs actually won the World Series.
That would be nuts.
That would be nuts.
I think people would lose their minds.
So between the hydrogen car, the floating skateboard, and
I mean, there's a lot of other technologies in those movies, or at least in Back to the Future.
3D.
Too. I mean, they have the holographic stuff. All that. I mean, even to some extent, how you prepare your food.
Yeah. Like the rehydrator.
Exactly.
The Black & Decker rehydrator.
Exactly.
The pizza's like this size. You put it in.
Right.
This is like I said. The only thing they didn't get right is that the primary form of communication in there was faxes.
Right.
Like the idea of like you'd have these faxes in your house that would just instantly give you messages. That we have texts and we have smartphones.
They did have FaceTime in there. They had FaceTime.
Yeah. So they had some things right, man. I don't know. But more importantly, I think this is. But the car, I just want to get back to because it's an intersection of all these things. What do you think of the car? The Toyota car. I mean, from what you know about it.
From what I know about it, I think it'll be cool. Especially here in California, which is more of a environmentally conscious state.
Do you have? I'm sorry not to interrupt, but do you have to add to your answer? Do you have a take on electric cars versus hydrogen cell cars, or do you?
My take is that even with electrical cars, there is still some type of emission that is toxic to the environment, and I would presume that there's still some with hydrogen. It's not 100% clean, but it's way cleaner than burning fossil fuels, and just going with the same oil gasoline technology. So I feel that a cleaner version is appropriate. So I feel like either electric or hydrogen, I'd be more for it than burning fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So
cool. All right. Well,
but to answer your question, I think it's cool the infrastructure that's being built in place because of California, that they have a lot of hydrogen fueling stations, and we'll see about 1,000 cars released here in the course of the upcoming couple years, and they'll be going to, I believe, Japan and the northeastern part of the country. So as we progress, we'll see more and more of these cars on the road.
Right. Well, speaking of the future being here, there is a new camera that can actually see under your skin. It's called the HyperCam. It uses something called hyperspectral imaging.
Hey, baby, let me take a photo of you real quick.
How's it look? Looks good, baby. Looks good.
Ew. So gross.
Let me see. No. Let me touch it out. Let me touch it out. Let me touch it out first.
I don't know what to do with you two right now.
That's so retarded.
But yeah, no, this is actually
interesting. Not me.
This is interesting, and this is a hyperspectral technology. Basically, it allows. I mean, the system is very complicated. It involves sort of multi different types of images being taken in different ways, scanned at a high speed, but the end result is being able to see things like veins, like you can see blood moving through veins, and you can see obviously the obvious thing is skin cancer and other stuff that are on you, and this is quite amazing, right?
Totally amazing. And you got to think that our biology is locked to a point where we can't see all the different wavelengths of light. So you talk about infrared light or different forms of light that are all around us and in the universe, we can't see. So, but technology can. And so what this technology is doing is using infrared light, incorporating that into the sensor of the camera and getting all those different wavelengths and taking individual photos of each wavelength and then combining those photos so that you can see all the details underneath your skin. Right. And that's what NASA and scientists do in space when they try to look for new planets. They look at the different how light is shooting out from a star, and they're able to put all those different wavelengths together to see if there's a planet in front of a star, and that's how they're able to detect different planets in far galaxies. So using that same technology now in your smartphone.
Right. What's even more, I was going to say that's the next step, because the next step will be trying to sort of shrink this down to something you can use on your smartphone, which would be crazy. Right now, it's not quite scalable. I mean, it's not a huge camera, but it's a camera about the size of these, a normal lens camera you would have. It also has a big light that goes on it. That's about the size of a normal camera light you would have. So be able to take that but that obviously we've done wonders with cameras in the last 100 years. So I would imagine,
man, we have,
exponentially we'll be able to shrink that thing down to your watch, at some point. Man. So I don't know. I mean, Lex, do you have any takes on this? Have you seen this technology?
This is going to be really good for, I think the one thing that stands out to me is skin cancer. We'll have a whole different spectrum to work on, and I think it's going to be great, and we can catch it early, and dermatologists can get a better sense of things. It's just going to be really good to use.
Yeah, and also just small things. You have a chest pain, you can sort of see if there's some sort of I mean, not I don't know if we can point you see micro arteries, but you can see if there's a blockage or what's happening a little bit. You could see if there's a weird mole. You can check this mole out. You can see what it's looking like. I mean, obviously we're not all doctors. We can't diagnose, but the tools.
Son's broken.
Yeah.
Furthermore, I mean, I feel this technology will be utilized in the security industry. I mean, we look at the smartphone now. You have to use your fingerprint to unlock or lock your phone, or to utilize a credit card. But now you'll be able to use a picture of your hand or your arm or your iris or whatever.
Retinal scan, all that stuff you'll be able to look at. I mean, it'll be we're inching closer and closer to the other predictor movie, which is Minority Report, where you're walking through and you're able to scan and recognize you through your retinal piece.
I wonder if this
some people call those eyes, by the way.
I wonder if this technology is similar to what I should research that. When you go through an airport, how they're able to detect if you have certain things on your body or in your body.
I wonder about that. They're with tech with that little scanner they have.
Right.
Also the weird. When they wipe you down with the thing and they test that in the machine, and it comes out like no bomb, no bombs on you.
Right.
So, speaking of bombs, throwing the bomb is something that you do in football.
Nice transition.
That's the worst segue ever.
Man, that was really nerdy. That was really nerdy. Throwing the bomb.
You know what's the bomb? DraftKings.
Stop.
That's my 1990s promo read. Speaking of the bomb, I'm Arsenio Hall now. No, but DraftKings is something we've been talking about for a long time here, and we, as we talked about, we're all fantasy football people. We love fantasy football. DraftKings is something that we still love. It's the idea of taking your entire season-long fantasy football that we all play, that I play as well, and then doing it on a week-to-week basis. So you don't have to wait a whole week to get your money. You don't have to wait a whole week to play fantasy. With DraftKings, you can do it every single week. And not only that, it's easy to do. It's easy to pick your team. You can pick whoever you want, whenever you want. You don't have to worry about people being taken. But not only that, you win money, real cash. You have a millionaire every single week, a brand new millionaire every week. So it's fantastic. if you love football, if you love fantasy football, like it can turn your love of football into a life-changing payday. You should check it out anytime. This is what it's about. If you want to do it yourself, you can go to DraftKings.com, use the promo code GEEK. That's the promo code GEEK, like me, and play. And you can play for free, and you can get a shot at $1 million in this week's Millionaire Maker event.
Boom.
Into the promo code GEEK for free entry at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com, promo code GIZNEEK.
There it is.
That's just geek. Okay. So, in other news, I want to talk about the Apple done, this is like not really news to anyone but me because I like this, but Apple is in a iWork update for the 3D Touch.
Yep.
I love all the iWork stuff. I do like pages, numbers, Keynote especially. But what I really think this is interesting is for Keynote on the iPad Touch, just the idea of being able to utilize that technology to be able to do better presentations and create better presentations on Keynote is kind of a game changer. Totally. I think.
Wouldn't say game changer. It's kind of strong, but I would say
change the gamer.
I would say definitely we need to have that. Like,
you're right.
I don't think the technology is so awestruck. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is in my smartphone now.
Right.
But I mean, it's
very
useful. It's very useful. It's very useful.
Fair enough. So I just want to mention that. That's just something else that I saw, like in my ever. My long quest to be able to make Apple more money to talk about Apple products and what they're doing.
Can't go a show without talking about Apple, right?
Talk about what Apple's doing to take my money. Anyway, what is interesting is there's something called Cinemedia, which is they do the NCM first look. If you go to a movie theater and you watch movies before that, while you're waiting for the movie to start, the pre-show, yeah. This company that called Cinemedia that puts on this thing called First Look. Sometimes they have trailers, they have news, they have events, they have advertising. It's a really giant business, and we're in a political season now.
Yes, we are.
And the $4 billion industry of political ads is out there. It's $4 billion worth of money for all these media platforms to get their hands on for all these people who want to be involved in that. But Cinemedia says no. They don't want to be involved in that.
They say no.
They're saying no, which I think is very interesting for a couple of reasons. I mean, that they're saying no to lose out on that money. Now, their official PR reason for this is something that goes like, the movie theater is a place for happiness. We don't want negativity in there. We don't want negative ads coming in and ruining the movie theater experience. So we're going to keep that out of our sort of taking the high road here. Mm-hmm. When in fact, I think it's what it is about. They don't want to. Nothing's more polarizing than politics. No one wants to sit in a crowded movie theater, all the violence in the movie theater, have a crowded movie theater and have a Republican ad go up, have some Democrats start wilding out, have a Trump ad go up, or have a Hillary ad go up, and then some rednecks start wilding out. I think it's like they're trying to sort of tamper down on any possible agitation within the movie theater. That's my take. But what do you think about all this?
I mean,
why else would they not get that money?
I feel two things. One, I think it's a good stance for a company to take because they're thinking of it in those terms. What is the moral thing to do? What's the right thing to do? Right. And a lot of the ads that will be a part of that $4 billion, profit share are very negative and very demeaning, sometimes disrespectful, and it could cause confrontation. So,
do you like Achilles Shaw as a host?
So I think for that, like, it's a good stance for a company to take. Yeah. However, I don't think that they should be completely devoid of anything political. I think if anything, they should be promoting maybe. They should promote voting, or they should promote things that are neutral or things that are shared. So I don't think they should completely draw themselves out of the arena of politics. I think they should just have a voice in a singular way, maybe.
That's a great point. I think the problem with that is in the era of super PACs and in the era of like all this money coming into campaigns, you never know. Even the most innocuous thing like go vote is funded by someone. And so when you get into the point where it's really about who's funding this,
right? But no one's asking that in the movie theater.
Well, I know, but what they're called, Cinemedia is, because it's a slippery slope. If you say I accept your money from this side, this super PAC who supports Republicans, but I can't accept your money from these Democrats.
But it goes against their argument that they don't want to create a polarizing environment for their consumers. Like if it's something that everyone can share because it's part of being an American,
right?
Like why does it matter?
I don't know, but that's a good theory. But first of all, I don't buy that argument. This is my other question to you. I don't buy their they're like, we just want a positive experience for our moviegoers. Like that's why we're gonna say no to our share in this $4 billion. That is bull. I don't believe that.
What's your theory then? What's your take?
Oh, I told you, my take is it's more of a violence thing. They don't want to incite people in the theater to have more movie theater violence.
Which means losing money because people won't go to the movie.
Exactly.
Right.
Like they don't want to have a situation where before movies they're showing political ads. Before the movie starts, fights break out. Someone's like, F you, Trump! And then someone's back like, F you! And then it's a fight. Like that's the whole thing. Or Hillary comes up, hi, I'm Hillary Clinton. Then we're like, boo! She's a B! You're a B! Like, and then it's like, then people are fighting. That's what they don't want. And that makes a lot of sense. But I just wish they would just say that as opposed to like, the movie theater is an environment of, I don't know.
Hey, well, to each their own.
Right.
I like when companies, even if it's smoke and mirrors, I still like when companies attempt to display themselves as morally or ethically principled. So
sure.
I think it's good that they can say vocally or outwardly that we're trying to do the right thing.
Alexis, good. Do you think do you think politics is a place for your movie theater? Do you want to watch before you're watching Twilight, whatever it is you watch?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't watch that kind of.
I'm sorry, my bad.
that you just spat it out to me. How dare you? But no, I feel like it's just another way to advertise, and they're already throwing a bunch of other stuff that people aren't really paying attention to up there. But I do agree with you that I feel like it could start problems, but at the same time, it's they're just trying to get it out there. So.
Right.
I'm going to be Switzerland in this one. I'll be in the middle.
Okay, well, fair enough. Switzerland it is. So moving on, Apple has this new. Yes, go ahead.
Never mind.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say another point. They're interested in not being political, but I'm sure they're political when it comes to housing films that are produced or starring African American people.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure all their movie locations don't have. I don't know, Fruitville Station when it came out.
Hell no.
So, I mean, that's kind of interesting to me.
Right. I mean, but they're not about, this is my whole point. Cinemark's about the money. It's when they say no to the money, it's, I don't know.
Whatever.
Something else going on there. I agree. All right. So moving forward, Apple, Apple's in the news again? No. Apple has this new research kit that, this is what I like, and this is another story that I like. So there's a sort of a research kit, which is a sort of a development kit that may help detect autism, melanoma, and epilepsy. And then, so people talk a lot about the apps, the app development program, and how these people are developing the apps and making money out of all these apps to play games and to do other things. But there's so many uses for these apps in the medical field, and the technology in the iPhone lends itself to be able to use it for researchers and doctors to apply what their tools and use the Apple technology to be able to help them do their job. And this is one of the cases where there is sort of an autism test where it can take a picture of your face and really detect sort of micro expressions and everything else. It's finding out if you maybe have it, or if you're maybe going to have a stroke, or if there's some melanoma going on. Not unlike what we just talked about with the camera.
Right.
We're getting closer and closer to Star Trek, where we have the full
scanners, the body
tricorder.
Scanners.
Yeah, and just be able to look like Bones. Let me see. He's a Klingon. That's my.
I was going to hit you with a one.
Yeah,
That's
my Dr. McCoy reference from the 1967 Star Trek. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I think this is why I love this. Why we both love technology is that when it's used for purposes like this, where you use a community of experts and scientists and intellectuals and philosophers to essentially help propel humanity or help. Solve the riddle to a lot of these diseases. So I think, for the application of technology in those spaces, I think it's great. And this open source type of community I like how they built that into the research of that app. So it's dope.
Yeah, I agree. I want to move on. I think it's just another cool story. And then as soon as we add the spectral cam to those applications, who knows what's possible.
Absolutely.
Apple's in trouble again legally. Like, this is more Apple stories. This is all geek nerd Apple. Is what we're gonna call this from now on. Apple is in trouble. $400 million. University of Wisconsin, I believe. Yeah, Wisconsin-Madison is saying that their technology, or the stuff that led into the improvement of the A7, A8, and A8X chips found in the iPhones, came from the development program out of Madison, Wisconsin, and like that, Apple essentially just stole that and ran with it, and they want their money. And Apple and a judge found out that that's true. They did do that, and they want Apple to pay. The ironic thing about the judge says that Apple should pay $862 million, which is like a drop in the bucket for Apple, but is oddly, University of Madison, Wisconsin only wanted $400 million. And even more oddly, Apple's like, we ain't paying that. So I don't understand Apple's strategy here for not just paying people off. I don't know why they fight Samsung, all those other folks. I mean,
they probably fight because the legal fees, number one, are going to be super high, and Apple has like you said, the backing to pay for anything. Does University of Wisconsin have the backing to pay for those legal fees? That might take a course of 5 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
Litigation of that, or just fight.
So it's a strategy.
Maybe it is
because it's like if the judge says pay $800 million, but Wisconsin's like, hey man, we only want $400 million, and Apple's like, hell nah. I'll see you in court. Yeah, exactly. So get your lawyer, get your money up. Wow.
Who knows?
Especially when I don't know. We're talking about 1.5 billion plus processors or more that they've. I don't know. It just seems this is one of these weird things that I don't. I guess there's certain business calculations that you make when you're running a giant multinational company, but multi-billion-dollar multinational company. But it just seems petty to me, but what do I know?
Hey man, I'm sure lawsuits are nothing new to Apple.
Yeah,
so
that's why the only thing I'm running is my mouth, unsuccessfully. By the way, and then I may still get sued. Thank you. Walk, walk. So Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are you may not have to wait until you get a brand new car, brand new whip in 2015 or 16 in order to have it.
All right.
If you want it right now, there's all these third-party folks. You can go down to Circuit City.
Yes.
Go down to the good guys.
Right.
Or Circuit City. And no, but you can go down to Best Buy or anywhere else and get a car radio installed that has Apple Play and all these other things. That's kind of the cool thing now. All these third-party folks are putting that in there, so you can take out your tape deck, or you can have. It says right here you can have a CD player, a tape deck, and Apple Play in your whip.
Deck.
Yes, I'm reading it right here. Tape deck.
My
poor sedan has the same old basic CD player tape deck for a dozen years,
Lord,
but it felt brand new when I got the Apple Play.
Hey man,
it's true.
Well, I think it's cool for the person that might have an older vehicle. Yeah, they don't have to invest their money into buying a new vehicle to have the new technology. So yeah, I mean, if they want to invest the $300 or however much it costs to install that, hey, that's great.
Yeah,
it's cool.
All right, cool. Alexis, would you put this?
Nope.
In your
nope.
You already drive a luxury car already.
Nope.
So
yes, my 2012 Honda Civic. My God.
Luxury.
So luxurious.
All right. This next story is something I mentioned. It's just we can almost skip. I was going to touch on that. It's about the idea of these tech players are building more platforms for creatives, and I think that the new trend now is a lot of developers are developing a lot of apps and large. Not only we know about like a lot of these productivity software situations. Which are well used that people use like Basecamp and others, but there are a lot more that are coming in, that are becoming apps to help sort of creative people create creative things, and there's a big business for this stuff because we live in a world of where the innovator and the entrepreneur is the hero, especially in the tech world, and I think this is a cool trend.
Yeah, I mean, definitely cool. I mean, I think it's asking the question. How can we make things more seamless? How can we make collaboration a little easier? How can we be more efficient? What are some design things that we can do to, make the whole landscape better for all creatives? And like, I mean, the field of production, which we both are in, like you're dealing with a whole team of creatives. So and people that speak a certain language. So you want to be able to have some shareability with the assets that you're working on and how you assess those assets and how you build upon those. So I think having a portal, a platform where you can do that seamlessly is perfect. And we're starting to see that with Dropbox and Hightail. But we'll see what happens in the future, like how seamless that is.
Yeah, we'll see. I just want to touch on that because I liked it. Next, this other quick story really quickly is about Twitter and their direct response advertising. They're saying that this is really sort of working well. This idea of like promoted tweets and getting advertisers to be able to directly interact with people and followers. And it's just like the whole thing with advertising in general is about engagement, and you don't get better engagement than directly getting to someone through Twitter, directly touching them through through whatever means they're using their smartphone or their computers. Thanks. Gotcha, Lexi. But like for you, how invasive is this for you? When you get the promoted, Instagram in the middle of your feed, you get the promoted tweet in the middle of your feed, or like, or through Snapchat, you're watching your story, you're getting somebody get promoted something in that. Does that bother you?
It would bother me if it was an increased, if it was a lot of that happening,
right?
Or if it was stuff that I have completely no interest in, then it would bother me. But if it's something that I might have some type of investment in, I don't mind it, because I might want to have that recommendation to be able to expand my knowledge on something product based or information based. So like, I think it's smart for obviously the company that wants to be able to get those analytics in terms of like who is responding to those promoted tweets, what demographics they are, and if that is actually being transformed into a sale or a sign up or some type of utilization of the product. So I think from that side, like, it's great. From the consumer side of the person that's casually on Twitter, like, it could be a nuisance.
Right.
What's your take?
I mean, I understand from them. I like the technology from a marketer standpoint, and I like the idea of being able to do that. I think it's just up to the brands and up to the marketers to be able to figure out how to do it in creative ways rather than just slamming stuff on the feed. I think it's the problem I have with it is just the invasiveness. It only feel like it's invasive to me when, like you said, it's not about what I want to, if I care about it or not. It's just about like the how seamless integration is, and if it's like interesting. If something interesting pops up on my YouTube feed, or if it pops up in on my something auto plays in YouTube, or something comes up on my Twitter feed and it's interesting, I may want to click, or I may want to be involved, or I'm going to watch. If it's just like that, an ad, someone mopping the floor, like Johnny doesn't like spills, and it's like feels very addy. Yeah. I don't want any parts of it. So
I feel it. Hey, but I do like what Twitter's doing. I think they're making some strong moves. We always talk about on the show how they're going to monetize Twitter, how they're going to be profitable. I think they're doing some pretty interesting things with their platform. Right. I think that will render them success. Although they've kind of axed a lot of employees in the last week, but we'll see what happens in the future.
We will. Last but not least, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, before we go into pop culture, since this is a tech question,
yes.
We have someone in the chat. His name is Skins Bison 1906.
What up, Skins?
He had two questions for the two of you. The first question is: are there any tech platforms or apps by Black designers that you guys can speak on?
Well, at the top of my head, there's two, actually. Yeah. There's two. We've had these brothers on here. One's called It's a shopping. Check out uno.co.
He was on the show.
Yeah. Our boy Andre, it is a shopping app which allows you to shop and buy things and earn money with the things you buy and through the people you refer. So
using social currency.
Right.
So using your influence to build social currency. So if you know a lot of people and you recommend products, they sign up and they buy it, then you get rewarded for that. Versus you buy something and recommend something to someone and you get no reward. So it's a great business platform for that, because you're able to shop all the hot products and then make money off of it.
And the other one is Listener, and I don't remember, it's Listener with no vowels, and that is also an app that sort of like uses it really talks
Bluetooth technology
to
essentially send information, send sound information. Like, so if you're listening to a song and you want information about that artist, listener will be able to send that to you via Bluetooth technology to the app. So if you're listening to a Jay-Z song and you want to know, maybe you want to see the lyrics, or you want to know when he recorded the song, or you want to see what other writers are on the song, Listener is an app that will provide that information to you via Bluetooth.
Yes.
That's super cool. The last question is, which I've actually done, is can you go a week without using your cell phone?
No.
Yeah, I could.
You're like, no.
I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's from the Washington, D.C. area, and he just wanted to ask a couple questions.
I could, and to be honest, I think it would be healthy for us all to at least try, because I think we're so attached to our devices, and technology is so infused in our lives that it's very distracting. Cool. And like, I think to have kind of like a fast from it, just like you would fast for food, or to cleanse your digestive system, or get the mental fog out. It's the same thing with your devices. I think, like, to be able to like go within yourself. We're so outwardly focused to go inwardly focused, and you're saying no.
Hell no.
Yeah, no. What we do now in my apartment with all of my friends and things like that, we have a little phone bucket. So if I cook dinner, or if someone else cooks dinner, we're all going to eat together. We put our phones in this like basket, and then we leave it there while we're eating. And it's only when we're eating is when we use that type of thing. Or if like there's a party and maybe we don't want to use our phones, we want to play like a card game or a board game, we usually put our phones in the phone basket. So
I think for me, it's hard for me to go without technology in that sense, because I worry about missing. Like, I worry about an emergency more. Like I have kids.
Yeah, that's true.
I have kids, so I get like when I'm out of touch, my anxiety starts ramping up. Like something's happening. I'm missing something either business wise or family wise. I start getting anxiety about what could be happening in business or to my family that I'm missing, and it just fills me full of anxiety. So if I can set something in place where I can check in and just get a check in, like, okay, everybody's okay and business is being handled, I guess I would love to be able to do that. But I think that's what it is for me.
I mean,
it's
I
more of an anxiety thing.
understand where you're coming from, because when I'm in public, or like if I'm out and I forget my phone at home, it feels weird, like something might happen.
Yeah,
and I don't
like
have my
you're
phone.
out of touch with the world, which
yeah.
is how it used to be all the time, and everyone survived.
Yeah,
you know? Like no one died. Like
you get that instant gratification of like, yeah, I know everyone's okay.
I mean, as early as 15 years ago, like we could only get paged, and even then we couldn't. You had to get
my
a
mom
page.
still has her pager.
Wow. Like I'm getting a beep right now.
Nice.
Someone spelled out hello.
But yeah, like down. I had a moment where I was at a The Voice taping, and you're not allowed to bring your phone with you.
Right.
And I was there for 6 hours without my phone, just hanging out at Universal, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Wow. What if the set goes on fire? I can't call anybody or anything like that. So.
And how did your audition go?
I did not sing. I was an audience member. Yeah, next year.
Yeah, all right.
Well, thank you for those questions, man. Good questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So really quick, I want to get through these. We got to go, but this one's just, I don't know how I feel about this, but
I'm the one that found this article.
I know. You said it, I was like, what? But I'm since we talked about Alexis, I'm going to go back and forth.
I wonder what Kelia thinks.
They're going to reboot Die Hard. They talk about rebooting Die Hard. They mean
what's Die Hard?
Die Hard, yes.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what Die Hard is.
So Die Hard, obviously, the wonderful franchise that started in 1987. One of my favorite all-time action movies. Is probably my top 2 or 3.
Get out of here.
Die Hard 1?
Man.
Die Hard 1 is a seminal movie for me. I'm not sure if it holds up.
You just said of all time. Do you realize what you just said?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
action. There's a lot of categories. Action, it's in my top 3 100%.
That's one of my favorite
wow.
Die Hard?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a stamp.
Wow.
This opens up a whole nother interesting gate of conversation, which I want to have a conversation about, because this is interesting. Well, I've been thinking about this when it comes to Star Wars lately and everything else, how something makes a cultural imprint on you, and you're and as much as you're feeling as much as that cultural imprint as it made on you, as you are of the quality of what happened. For instance, Star Wars holds up, but you watch Star Wars now, you see the seams of 1977 for sure,
of course.
And the hairdos and the this and the that, and every time I try to show Star Wars to someone who's never seen it, like an adult,
right,
who are like, let me see this Star Wars, I was like, man, Like, look at my man's head. Like, people start like seeing the scenes. I'm like, no, it's Luke. My point is, like, there's movies that have an impression on you, and you think about where they were at the time, and they stay there. And of course, there's movies like The Matrix and other things that have come up, and a lot of action movies that have happened since 1987. A lot since 1987. But to me, like, so many of those movies are so directly derivative of the things that you first saw, just like Star Wars, in Die Hard, that it's really hard not to keep Die Hard up there. I feel the same way about Aliens. James Cameron's Aliens, which is also 1987, that's one of my...
How do you feel about the next... They're filming the next one.
Well, I'm excited about that because it's Neil Blomkamp who's doing it. But the last point, the one point that I make, and I just finished watching The French Connection, which is largely regarded as one of the great movies of all time, and largely the best chase scene in movies ever. And it's still, if you look any list, the best chase scene in movies, The French Connection is up there. That chase scene now, it's all right. There's been 1,000 way better chase scenes since The French Connection, but for some reason that's still up the top 2. So it's so much about the cultural imprint that it makes on you. That's the argument I'm making, and Die Hard sticks there. And you're saying it's not even, you're out on Die Hard?
I'm out on Die Hard. I'm just reacting to the statement that you said it's top 3 of all time. Action movies.
Yes.
So before Rambo. Before Predator.
Yes.
Fuck out of here.
I mean, but you in 1987, where were you? You were like in the crib.
7 years old in the crib.
So like,
I wasn't even born yet, and I still liked all those movies.
I'm not saying I don't like Bruce or Die Hard. Like, it's a great movie, but I'm not gonna give it top 3. No way. Like, I think that's a bit heavy.
No,
but anyway, whatever.
You're outnumbered.
You're way off base on that one, I think.
Okay, and the next thing you're gonna tell me, Die Hard 2 and 3 were just as good.
No, Die Hard 2 and 3 were not just as good.
Hell no.
They were terrible.
They were terrible.
3 had its moments, but 2 was terrible.
Original Die Hard is the best.
Die Hard is, and it still holds up. I've seen that film probably 100 times, and it still holds up.
I told you that's my Christmas movie. Every time Christmas rolls around, I have to play Die Hard.
Die Hard's in my top 10 of all, maybe top 5 of Christmas movies. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Maybe top 5. Maybe top 3. It's in my top.
It's the
Die Hard's in my
Christmas
top
movie.
3, maybe top 2 of action movies. It's not even there. Anyway, we digress. They're rebooting it. They want to reboot it with a younger actor.
Terrible move.
The idea is not to continue it in the future, but to go back to the 70s and have John McClane as a young cop in the 70s fighting crime. Like, that's coming up. I like the idea of it in theory, but my point is, like, the idea of, like, John McClane, it's already getting goofy when that one thing happened to John McClane in 1987 in the Nakatomi Plaza. That's like, wow, it's this crazy New York cop. He's in this crazy situation. What are the odds? And he's using all of his grit to get out of the situation. That's wonderful. When it happened again in the airport, like, John McClane is a cop. He's not James Bond.
Right.
And then again in New York, and then again
how convenient. How convenient.
And then again. So it's like he's not an agent he's not a secret agent. He's a freaking New York cop.
Right.
Now in the 60s. So my point is, what was he doing? Got it. What was he doing? In the 70s, that was so Die Hard. They're going to have him doing some Die Hard shit in the 70s. The whole idea of this is crazy. More importantly, the whole idea of, like, taking these classic characters like Han Solo and focusing on a young Han Solo or Indiana Jones and a young Indiana Jones and a young Bruce Willis. I get it from a money standpoint, but only if it makes sense. Like, there's some characters like James Bond that you want to just see, okay, let's reboot, let's go forever. I'm not sure John McClane is one of those characters. Your thoughts, and we have to wrap.
My thoughts are, as I look on my phone, I searched about three different sources, and Die Hard is not on anyone's list. But that's my first thing. And I will say that I've seen Predator and Rambo on a number of lists. Yeah, Lethal Weapon.
I don't know what list you're talking about.
Anyway, all action movies. But anyway, I think it's a terrible idea for them to reboot this movie. I don't think, like you said, like how the story is structured and the character is not strong enough to be able to be put in these situations so many times. Like, it's just not believable.
Right.
And so for me, it's like, okay, whatever. Like, I'd rather see a James Bond than a Die Hard reboot.
And as I've done, I'd rather see Bruce Willis in all these different situations. I don't even see John McClane.
The last Die Hard was terrible.
Terrible. I'm a Die Hard guy. I haven't even seen it.
It's terrible.
I haven't even seen it because it was hurting my heart.
Don't do it.
All right. The one with him and Justin Long and my boy from Justified was okay. It was a little too CGI heavy. Again, I don't know. It's just I just want whatever. John McTiernan, Die Hard, excellent film. Top 2.
Now it's top 2.
We don't have time to talk about Godzilla and some other stuff. We gotta get out of here. So top 2. But I'd like to hear what your top movies are, action movies out there, folks, are.
No, next week we bring in a top 10. Bring your top 10 next week.
I'll bring my top 10.
Okay,
Can I
and so
bring
when you
mine?
think about it,
all three of us will bring our top 10. We'll go
Yeah.
head to head. We'll see
on
what's
record,
what.
both of them said Die Hard was in their top 3.
It
So
is.
I want to see if that's the same next week.
It
It
is.
might be number one.
No, Lethal Weapon's number one for
Oh
me.
God, Lethal Weapon's great, but it's not my top 10 action movies. Action comedy, baby. Where can the people find you, Alexis?
You can find me all over social media as atorres890.
Shine.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at AkiliShine, AKILISHINE. And where can we find
You
you?
can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope at Joe K. Braswell. Also on our sister network, AfterBuzz Television, doing the Blacklist after show. And that's all I got. We'll come in next week with some action movies, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.